Do I need to step into your stuff? I hope you got it. But let me just in case. I know folk are worried about when I'm going to get married and start my life and all this stuff. But can I help you? And in helping you understand me, I help you too. God told me a certain thing. And because he told me a certain thing, you need to stay up out of mine. And because I just said that, some of y'all ain't here. Y'all need to stop being afraid to tell somebody to stay up out of your business. Because if God spoke a thing over your life, number one, you need to keep them out. But number two, you need to just walk in it. Because when it comes time for things to happen and the moment opens up, you ought to be able to what? Walk in it.
Yes, Lord. Yes.
Some of y'all scared. I can look at some people that got relationships they haven't gone forward in certain ways. Because they scared to death that if they actually do what God says do, can I be honest? If you actually do what God told you to do in the first place, it'll scare you to death that folk will automatically start talking about you. Just do it. Just do it. Ain't that what Nike says? Just do it. Why you gotta get it from a shoe company? Just do it. If God says something to you, do it. You ain't got to hear him 5, 6 times. If he said it to you, do it. Then there's, I may not get to all this, but so be it. There's a childish reaction to God's judgment. The text says, after God passed judgment, the people that doubted said, we sinned against God. We're going to do what he told us to do in the first place, suit up and go to war. Sound like a 6-year-old. You know, when you might tell your child to do something, and they initially don't do it, and then you threaten them. If you don't do it, it's either your stuff or your life. And then suddenly they start to do it. Amen. That's how they reacted. You see. They weren't like, oh, we sinned against God. No, they were all acting childish because God said, I'm going to cut you all the way off. Some of y'all don't want to hear this. I don't care. You better get scared when God gets good and ready to say, you're done. Now some of y'all are like, well, God wouldn't do that. He's a God of mercy. Yeah, he's a God of mercy. He's a God of grace too. But there comes a point. It's just like some of my female friends asking me the question, why can't I find a good man? And I knew some of the guys they dated. And I look at them dead in the eye lovingly with my big brown eyes. And I tell them, because you crazy. Good thing come along, you don't know how to handle it. Oh, that should have been some shout right there. You don't know how to handle it because he didn't want to do what you wanted to do. Because he didn't want to take you here, and his mind is on finding a wife and finding a good thing and obtaining favor from the Lord. You got mad because he didn't take you to the restaurant you wanted, but in his mind, he trying to set up house and home so you can live the kind of life befitting of a queen, but you're acting like a spoiled heiress, wanting everything right now. Prodigal son said, Daddy, give it to me now. And the father was like, ain't time yet. He said, no, give it to me now. And the father said, all right. There you go. And all he did was what? Squander his inheritance. And then he came running back and daddy saying, Daddy, I'm not even worthy to be your son. But even daddy said, I got grace. See, some of y'all don't realize that God has so much for you. But he is willing to cut you off right here because you ain't ready for what he's got for you. Don't react childishly and then hear from God saying, don't you dare go up in that mountain because I ain't with you. Like the person that tries to pick a fight. They try to pick, the smallest person pick a fight with the biggest guy, thinking they got a whole gang of people behind them. And then suddenly they all what? Step back. And who's the fool now? The one talking the most trash. It's a shame when you think you can run up on somebody, do what you thought you could always do, and then God proved to you you're nothing without him. Childish action. Then there's refusal of God's presence. What do? They went up anyway. No presence, no nothing. Well, he said do this, so I'm going to do it anyway. But then he told you, I ain't with you. If you got a relationship with God, your ears have to be keen to his voice. And there is no time in your life when you should go around looking at God saying, I don't need you. That is foolish. That is the dumbest thing you could possibly do. Don't you dare come up in this church. I'm just telling you as the pastor of this church. Don't come up in here ever talking about your sad sob story and not examine yourself before you tell it. Because some of your answers might come just from looking at yourself. God said he was going to do this, but I don't see why. He might have told you not to go. He might have told you not to move. He might have told you to leave that man alone. He might have told you to leave that female alone. He might have told you, I didn't tell you to get that job. I didn't tell you to do this. I didn't tell you to do that. Some of your own misery may have something to do with it. The most miserable I've ever been had nothing to do with anybody else but me. I chose the friends that stabbed me in the back. I chose the, you see, it's in the book. Do you ever see in the Bible where it talks about women finding a good man? It says a man that findeth some of your. I'm gonna put this on YouTube. I'm looking dead at the camera. I'm gonna put this on YouTube and on Facebook for some of my other female friends to see this. Stop looking for somebody that God ain't told you to look for. Amen. They're supposed to find you. And hopefully when they find you, God has done something with you. Let the redeemed of the Lord say so. Amen. God has to be over your life, working in your life, doing things in your life, making things happen. But then you also got there's also the personal desire to prove God wrong. I go up anyway. I don't need you, God. I'm going to go up anyway to show you that I can do this thing by myself. You're a fool for going without him, and you're a greater fool for telling God you don't need him. And not only don't you need him, that you're going to do what only he can do. It's a result of dead dreamers. God, you said you were going to do it. But God said, you doubted me. You doubted me. You doubted I was able to do it. You. Nobody but you. Well, I can change him. No, that's my job. I can change her. No, that's my job. No, I can do. No, you can't do anything without me. I'm trying to bless you. I'm trying to accelerate you. But you impeding the progress. Church, that's why I believe